Everybody, welcome back to another video, and today I'm gonna do the first video of my 2023 What If series of the season. I'm gonna do the first 16 races, so this is probably gonna be my longest video yet, and yeah, I really hope you enjoy it. Please go watch this video to see where every driver is on the grid, because you're going to be confused if you didn't watch that video, because like Charles Leclerc is in Red Bull, and it's going to be very important because that is how the story is going to be based on. So yeah, but let's get it underway. I will be showing you the qualifying, the race, tell you what happened in the race. There will be a top 5 in the standings, and I will tell you how each driver goes and who wins the championship and so on and so forth. So let me know what you think would have happened in some scenarios with the drivers in the teams. This is just my opinion. It's a lot of work that go into this. Like, I have to probably like simulate in my brain like what would happen. So if there is a driver in a car that has a DNF because of mechanical failure, it stays in that. If a driver makes a mistake in the real season, then they also make a mistake like in this series here. So that's how it works. And yeah, so with no further ado, let's get into the first race. Welcome back to the F1 season. This is the first race of the 2023 season in Bahrain. Qualifying went very good, with the top 10 being like this. Leclerc in the Red Bull P1. The Red Bulls have very good pace. Norris P2 in the Ferrari. He couldn't finish his second run but still finished P2. Hulkenberg in his return to F1 P3 in the Red Bull. Magnussen P4. Sainz, a very surprising qualifying, P5 with the Haas. Verstappen, P6 in the Alfa Romeo. Another surprise. P7 and 8, the two Mercedes drivers of Tsunoda and Piastri. De Vries in his rookie debut being in the top 10. And 10th place, the other Alfa Romeo, Esteban Ocon. In the race itself, it was a very entertaining race. A battle in the lead, or well, more for second place between Norris and Hulkenberg. But the McLaren of Alonso had a mechanical failure. Ocon lost a lot of places, and he chose the DNF because he made a mistake and he got a lot of penalties. And Norris's Ferrari had a mechanical DNF while running in P2, a very disappointing start for the Ferrari team. And the other McLaren also had a problem of Zhao. They had a fuel leakage or a pressure pump leakage, something like that. And at the end, Leclerc won the first race of the season, Hulkenberg second, making the Red Bull 1-2, and then surprise third place for Verstappen in the Alfa Romeo, pushing the car beyond its limits, with Pierre Gasly P4 with the fastest lap, Magnussen 5th, Tsunoda 6th, De Vries 7th, Hamilton 8th, Piastri in his rookie year with Mercedes P9, and Sainz scoring their first point for Haas. So in the standings, it's still the same, but Red Bull, of course, P1 in the constructors. Going to the second race in Jeddah. Qualifying was very dramatic. Sargent couldn't do a lap in Q1 because he went over the white line. So he's going to start probably in the last pair. Norris made a mistake, broke his wheel in the first turn, still in Q1. And Red Bull, in Q2, the Red Bull of Nico Hulkenberg had a problem, so he couldn't go into Q3. The race itself was quite entertaining, not lots of things happening. Oh, I forgot to tell you who was pole. In the end, Yuki Tsunoda got pole in the Mercedes, his first pole in the series so far. Alonso and McLaren second, Leclerc in the Red Bull third, Russell 4th in the Alpine, very good, and De Vries 5th, with the rest being Magnussen, Piastri, Gasly, Verstappen, and Zhao. Yes, Norris also had a penalty because even though he broke his wheel, he also had to put a new engine because of the previous race, so not a good start for Norris. In the race itself, De Vries' Aston Martin went up into flames, and Perez's Williams didn't have any brakes. So once again, Leclerc won his second race in a row for Red Bull. Gasly, P2, a podium for him, very good, his second podium in a row. Piastri getting his first podium in F1 in his second race for Mercedes. Tsunoda, the man on pole, could only finish P4. Hulkenberg, with his charge through the field, finished P5 with the fastest lap. Verstappen was 6, Magnussen 7, Zhou 8, Hamilton 9, and Russell 10. So the top 3 in the championships are Leclerc, Gasly, and Hulkenberg. And still Red Bull is first, and Aston Martin and Mercedes are tied with second with 37 points each. The third race is going to be Australia in the 2023 season. It was another dramatic, very entertaining qualifying session. Perez getting into the gravel trap in Q1, meaning he will start last in his Williams. And in the race, again I forgot to tell you who qualified where. Hulkenberg took his first pole for Ferrari, and I think, not for Ferrari, for Red Bull, and I think his first pole ever. Leclerc second, Gasly third, Tsunoda fourth, Piastri fifth, Norris sixth, De Vries seventh, Magnussen eighth, Hamilton ninth, Sainz 10th. This was a very dramatic race. In the first lap, Leclerc hit Gasly and he went into the gravel trap with Hulkenberg. Albon crashed. The Mercedes of Yuki Tsunoda had a mechanical DNF. Magnussen crashed against the wall that caused the red flag to get out, and when the races went on the second last lap, Gasly crashed into Sainz, meaning they both had a DNF, and Sargent hit Zhou. Very chaotic with only 12 people finishing. And that means Hulkenberg get his first ever F1 win with Red Bull, and probably his first ever win in the series. Norris finally getting back to winning P2 ways, being P2. Piastri another podium, good for him, P3. De Vries P4, Hamilton P5, Alonso P6, Russell P7, Verstappen P8, Stroll P9, and Perez getting the Williams' first points this season. And after that race, it means Hulkenberg is leading the championship by 5 points over Leclerc because he did not finish, and Piastri is now third with Gasly fourth, and Verstappen still fifth. In the constructors, Red Bull is running away with Mercedes P2 and Aston Martin P3. What an entertaining race. Our fourth race is going to be at Baku, Azerbaijan, and this is going to be our first sprint of the season. In Q1, De Vries crashed, Gasly also crashed, and the Haas of Sainz had a problem. Which means, surprisingly, Norris got his first pole this year with Ferrari. Hulkenberg was second, Leclerc third, Magnussen fourth, Alonso fifth, Sargent in the AlphaTauri P6 making his first Q3 appearance, Zhou seventh, Bottas also in the top 10 with AlphaTauri, Hamilton 9th, and Tsunoda 10th. Before we go into the race, we also have to do the sprint qualifying, with the SQ1 having a problem with Hamilton. He couldn't do a time, and Sargent crashed, which meant he wouldn't take part in the sprint race. But Leclerc took the sprint pole, Hulkenberg second, Norris third, Piastri fourth, and Perez in the Williams surprisingly fifth. In the sprint race itself, Sargent, like I said, couldn't do anything, and Yuki Tsunoda had a crash. But Leclerc won the sprint race with Norris second, Hulkenberg third, Magnussen fourth, Perez fifth, Bottas sixth, Gasly seventh, and Piastri eighth. And in the race, it was quite a chilled one, not much drama. De Vries crashed in the Aston Martin, and which meant Hulkenberg once again won. He stayed ahead of Leclerc, but he overtook Norris. And Leclerc also overtook Norris to come in second place. So Norris was third, Magnussen fourth, Tsunoda had the fastest lap in fifth, Alonso sixth, seventh Piastri, Gasly, Perez, and Sargent scoring his first points for AlphaTauri in Baku. Hulkenberg extending his lead in the championship. Leclerc second, Norris now third with 40 points, with Piastri 1 point behind him in fourth, and Gasly fifth. Ferrari had a big jump in this race, going from I don't even know where to second place in the standings. Red Bull was still first and Mercedes third. Now we're going to the Miami Grand Prix for the fifth race of the season. In qualifying, Leclerc crashed after making a mistake on the first flyer and causes red flag to end the session. So Leclerc making another mistake. If he wants to win the championship, he has to be better than Hulkenberg. And anyway, talking about Hulkenberg, he got pole position. Magnussen got second, Norris third, Russell fourth. In the Alpine, very good. Sainz again doing a Grande in the Haas in fifth, Hamilton sixth. Tsunoda seventh, Leclerc eighth. Even though he crashed, he did make a time. Piastri 9 and Ocon 10th. In the race itself, Sainz got a 5-second penalty for speeding the pit lane, and there was surprisingly no DNFs. So in the race, Hulkenberg won. Leclerc did damage limitation to finish second with the fastest lap. Norris again third, the same as what it was the previous race. Magnussen was fourth, Hamilton fifth, Stroll getting his first points for Haas with a very good race in sixth. Russell 7th, Sainz 8th, Piastri 9th, and Bottas getting his first point of the season. No, sorry, not his first points, but getting points in 10th for AlphaTauri. Once again, Hulkenberg is extending his lead in the championship. Leclerc 2nd, Norris 5th, Magnussen getting up to P4, and Piastri P5. Our 6th race is going to be at Monaco, and this is going to be a very interesting race. Leclerc had the 3-place grid penalty for impending Norris. In Q1, Perez crashed. Norris hit his car. And yeah, just drama everywhere. And I don't think Norris could do another lap. I know he didn't do another lap, sorry. They fixed the car. In qualifying, which was very entertaining, Leclerc actually got pole. But because he had the 3-place grid penalty, that pushed Tsunoda into first place, Hulkenberg 2nd, and Norris 3rd, Leclerc 4th, Magnussen 5th, Hamilton 6th, Gasly 7th, Russell 8th, Piastri 9th, and Alonso 10th. Monaco being Monaco, there wasn't much drama, but it was a little bit rainy, so Sainz damaged his front wing, late braking, Perez breaks his front wing, Sainz slides off, Russell had a 5-second penalty, Stroll DNF because he crashed, and Haas of Sainz had a DNF because of mechanical failure. So maybe just a little bit busy. But Yuki Tsunoda in the Mercedes won the Monaco Grand Prix. What an achievement for the Japanese driver. Hulkenberg 2nd with Norris 3rd. Piastri with the fastest lap in 4th. Gasly 5th. Leclerc struggling to make up pace because it is Monaco. So he finished 6th, and he had a bad pit stop, and the other drivers were just a little bit faster than him. Russell 7th, Zhou 8th, Hamilton 9th, and the last point went to Magnussen. And this, of course, means Hulkenberg extends his lead with 26 points ahead of Leclerc in the championship. Norris 3rd, Tsunoda 5th with that wonderful race. He's now in the top 5, and Piastri also P5. And the constructors is basically still the same. Our 7th race is going to be the Spain GP. I think it's number 7 now. I'm just going to stop doing the count and I know where to stop. Gasly has a 6th place penalty for impeding. And Norris plus Albon had a pit lane start because of problems with their car. In Q1, Alonso damaged underfloor and had a lot of spins. Or there was a lot of spins. I think that's what it meant. In Spain itself, in qualifying, Hulkenberg got another pole with Leclerc being 2nd, Zhou a wonderful qualifying 3rd, Hamilton 4th, De Vries 5th, Magnussen 6th, Alonso 7th, Gasly should have been P2, but he had a 6th place grid penalty, so he started P8, Russell 9, and Piastri 10th. It was actually a very chilled race. Norris only broke his front wing at the first turn, so he had a little bit problems. So he couldn't go higher up, but Leclerc went from second to first, and he won the race with the fastest lap. Hulkenberg was second, and Tsunoda scoring another podium. Gasly was fourth, a great race from him. Magnussen fifth, Zhou sixth, De Vries 7, Hamilton 8, Piastri 9th, and Russell 10th. In the standings, Hulkenberg is still a lot of points ahead of Leclerc, so Leclerc needs to push his game up. Because of the trouble Norris had, Tsunoda jumps him in the standings to third. Norris is now fourth, and Gasly is now fifth. And in the constructors, Mercedes overtakes Ferrari with only 1 point. The Canadian Grand Prix is up next, and there was a lot of penalties. Sainz, Tsunoda, and Stroll both, all three have 3-place grid penalties, and yeah, it's just a very dramatic thing that happens here. Hulkenberg also had a 3-place grid penalty for red flag infringements. So yeah, this is a very bad race. Crazy qualifying. In Q2, Stroll spun but no damage, and in qualifying 3 crashes, bringing out the red flag. So a lot of things happening. Leclerc being out in Q2 because he was on the wrong tires, and Hulkenberg should have started first, but he got a penalty. So Magnussen starts from pole position, his first pole in Ferrari colors this year. Zhou in second, another good qualifying from him. Hamilton third, Hulkenberg fourth, of course. Fifth place, Gasly and Norris 6, Alonso 7, Piastri 8. Tsunoda had also a penalty, so he starts from 9th, and Albon in the Williams 10. Very good from him. In the race itself, Albon had a DNF for Williams because his car didn't make it. Russell hits the barrier and was DNF'd. And Norris had a 5-second penalty. De Vries hits Piastri, and both are lost. So in the end, Gasly wins Aston Martin's first ever race. Crazy scenes at Canada in the crazy race. Magnussen and he had a good fight, but Magnussen got second. Hulkenberg making it third, Norris fourth. Leclerc had a good race, finishing fifth with the fastest lap. Hamilton 6, Zhou 7, Tsunoda 8, Verstappen and Ocon scored, with them being in 9th and 10th respectively. Hulkenberg again making a few points up on Leclerc. Gasly now in third, with Norris in fourth and Tsunoda now in fifth. A very close battle for third place. Ferrari overtake Mercedes once again in the Constructors' Championship. The Austrian GP is the next race, and it's another sprint weekend. We have penalties for Leclerc once again for impending, and Stroll pit lane start, and Sargent pit lane start as well. In the qualifying itself, Hulkenberg did another wonderful qualifying. He's in first, Norris second, Leclerc third, Magnussen fourth, Gasly fifth, Zhou 6, Tsunoda 7, Sainz 8, De Vries 9th, and Alonso 10th. In the sprint qualifying, Tsunoda couldn't start because, Tsunoda couldn't put up a competitive time because the Mercedes had problems. And Hulkenberg again took pole there with Norris second, Sainz in the Haas, a very good third place, Zhou fourth, Leclerc struggling in fifth, Russell 6th, Gasly 7th, and Piastri 8th. In the sprint race itself, it was quite a quiet sprint race. Not really, it was quite dramatic with there being rain and just being out of control. And in the end, Norris in the Ferrari won the sprint race with Hulkenberg second, Piastri third, Leclerc fourth, Gasly fifth, Sainz 6th, and Albon 7th, with Zhou scoring the last point. The race itself, Stroll's Haas gave up on him. De Vries went through the gravel trap. Lots of penalties for drivers, and De Vries pushed someone off the track. I can't see what I put there, sorry. But in the end, Hulkenberg wins another race with Leclerc second with the fastest lap, Norris third, Gasly fourth, Tsunoda fifth, Piastri 6, Zhou 7, Albon 8, Sainz 9th, and Magnussen 10th. Hulkenberg also getting lots of points on Leclerc, Norris 3rd, Gasly 4th in the standings, and Tsunoda 5th. And in the constructors, it's probably still the same. Now it's going to start getting interesting because now McLaren are starting to get upgrades, and it's going to be the Silverstone race. A penalty for the Alfa Romeo of Verstappen. He was disqualified from qualifying, so he's going to start last. Hamilton spins in the first qualifying, and Sainz's Haas had a DNF. But a surprise result with Alonso in P1 and Zhou in P2 in qualifying. Hulkenberg 3rd, Magnussen 4th, Norris 5th, Hamilton 6th, Gasly 7th, Tsunoda 8th, Leclerc 9th because he had a very bad run, and Albon in the Williams 10th. In the race itself, the Alpine of Russell gave in on him, and Sainz's Haas the same. Stroll hits Piastri, causing him to get a penalty of 5 and 10 penalties. So yeah, not a good race for Stroll, but Piastri being a victim of another accident. In the race itself, Alonso wins again in Formula 1 with the McLaren team. He was first, Hulkenberg was second, and Zhou was third. Hulkenberg had the fastest lap. Tsunoda was fourth. Leclerc tried his best but could only do with fifth place. Albon was sixth. Gasly was seventh. Norris was eighth. Perez was ninth. And Magnussen scoring the last point in 10th. In the driver standings, Hulkenberg still having a big margin with 213 points and Leclerc only 173. Norris in third, Gasly in fourth, and Tsunoda in fifth. This is getting very juicy in the standings because now there is a new team fighting for some wins. The Hungarian GP was next. And the qualifying was quite dramatic. Zhou got his first pole for McLaren, and Leclerc was second. Verstappen was third in the Alfa Romeo. Crazy. Ocon fourth in the Alfa Romeo. They just have qualifying pace out of nowhere. Hulkenberg fifth, Alonso sixth, Norris seventh, Piastri eighth, Ricciardo because he took the freezer spot at Aston Martin because Aston Martin's boss wasn't happy, and Gasly in 10th. That means Ricciardo beat his teammate in his first qualifying session. In the race itself, Ocon had a bad getaway. Zhou locked up and goes straight. Leclerc got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and Sargent spun. But in the end, even though everything happened to Leclerc, he won the race with Alonso second, starting from 6th, and Hulkenberg third. Norris was in 4th, with Ricciardo in 5th, Gasly 6th, Verstappen 7th, Piastri 8th, Tsunoda 9th, and Ocon 10th. Leclerc made some points up against Hulkenberg in the championship. Norris is still 3rd, Gasly 4th, and Tsunoda 5th. The next race was in Belgium, and this is now sprint weekend. Penalties for the Red Bull of number 1, which was Hulkenberg. He got a 5+ grid penalty for adding a gearbox. Magnussen, 3+ grid penalty for impeding. Stroll pit lane start. So a lot of things happening. In Q2, Ocon crashed, so he couldn't go through into Q3. But in qualifying in the Belgian GP, it was Leclerc on the top with Piastri second. What a wonderful race from qualifying from him. Alonso third, Tsunoda fourth, Norris fifth. Magnussen should have started P3, but he got a penalty, so he's going to start 6th. Gasly 7th, Zhou 8th, Hamilton 9th, and Hulkenberg 10th. He should have started P5, but he got a penalty, so what can you do? The sprint qualifying was not so eventful, but Alonso got pole for McLaren with Norris 2nd, Magnussen 3rd, the first Red Bull only in P4 with Hulkenberg, Leclerc 5th, Hamilton 6th, Zhou 7th, and Piastri 8th. In the sprint race, Alonso, who was on pole, who was first, crashed. The drama. Tsunoda had a spin in the Mercedes, that means he was last. 5-second penalty for Sargent for speeding. Hamilton hit Zhou and Zhou DNF'd, and Hamilton got a 5-second penalty. So a very dramatic race for the McLaren team. But in the end, Leclerc won the sprint race with Hulkenberg second, Magnussen third, Norris fifth, Piastri fifth, Gasly sixth, Perez seventh, and Hamilton still in the points worth that penalty. In the race itself, in the first turn, Sainz pushed Ocon into the wall in the first turn, and they both DNF'd, and that's the only thing that happened. The driver who won was Leclerc. He won in Belgium, in Spa. Piastri was second, Hulkenberg was third, making a few good places up to make damage limitation. Tsunoda was fourth, Gasly was fifth with the fastest lap. Alonso, Norris, Zhou, Magnussen, Hamilton was the last of the scorers. Leclerc is making a few good points on Hulkenberg in the championship. Norris is still third, Gasly fourth, and Tsunoda fifth. It was the winter break, so we didn't even had a lot of things happening. I'm not going to spoil who's going to go where for the next season. Only after this is complete, I will the whole season. But in Zandvoort, in the practice, Ricciardo broke his wrist, and Lawson is going to be in his car in the Aston Martin. So we'll see how the Lawson does in the car. Tsunoda got a penalty for impeding, and Sainz has a pit lane start. In Q3, Leclerc once again crashed, so he needs to stop making these mistakes. But Hulkenberg was P1, got spoiled again because of his teammate's mistake. Alonso second, Albon third in the Williams, what a qualifying. Zhou fourth, Norris fifth, Russell sixth, Gasly 7th, Piastri 8th, Tsunoda 9th, and Leclerc not setting a time, P10 in the qualifying. In the race, it started raining and was just chaos everywhere. Sargent crashed, Leclerc went through the gravel and damaged the car, and not long after that he had to DNF himself because he didn't do anything good in this race. Perez makes a mistake, Zhou crashed, and Perez got a 5-second penalty, and Russell got a puncture, which meant Alonso won the race. Very good from him. Hulkenberg just didn't have the pace in the Red Bull for some reason. He made a mistake, which meant Alonso won in the McLaren. Piastri was second, Gasly was third, and Hulkenberg fourth. Norris was fifth, and the rest of the scores was Albon sixth. Very good from him. Magnussen seventh, Tsunoda eighth, Lawson with the fastest lap, scoring his first ever points in Formula One with the Aston Martin team, and Perez 10th. Hulkenberg making again another few points up on Leclerc because he made a mistake. Gasly passes Norris for third place, Norris fourth, and Tsunoda fifth. Monza was next, the Temple of Speed and Ferrari's home turf. Nothing much happened in qualifying, but Hulkenberg got his pole position. Magnussen was second, Norris was third, Piastri fourth, Leclerc struggling once again, he's only fifth, Tsunoda sixth, Albon 7th, Alonso 8th, Bottas 9th, and Gasly 10th. Hopefully the Ferraris have good enough speed to do what they want to do at their home turf. In the race, the AlphaTauri of Bottas did not start the race because he had mechanical failure. Russell's car had also a DNF, the Alpine, and Hamilton hit Verstappen, weird, and got a 5-second penalty. And in the end, the Red Bulls were just too quick, and Leclerc went from 5th, passing Hulkenberg into 1st. So Leclerc won another race, Hulkenberg was 2nd, Norris at least on the podium for the Ferrari, Magnussen 4th, Piastri 5th, and the rest of the scores was Albon, once again a wonderful points for Williams, Tsunoda 7th, Alonso 8th, Lawson scoring another points for Aston Martin with Perez in 10th. Leclerc making up a few positions, points in the championship, Norris 3rd, Gasly 4th, and Piastri 5th, overtaking Tsunoda in this championship. The constructors, not much to talk about, it's pretty much the same the whole time. The next race is in Singapore, and a weird occurrence happened. For some reason, the Red Bulls weren't fast. In Q1, Stroll crashed and he broke his car so bad he couldn't start the race. And Verstappen had the pit lane start because something was wrong with his car. So that meant Magnussen in the Ferrari was P1 on pole. Wonderful. Sainz in the Haas was second. That was just crazy. Liam Lawson was third in the Aston Martin, with Norris fifth, Russell in the Alpine fifth, Piastri 6, Gasly 7, Bottas 8, Hulkenberg at least getting in the top 3 with a Red Bull in 9th, Sargent 10, and Leclerc was just outside the top 10 in 11th. In the race, Perez hit Zhou and he was out. Sargent hit the wall. Alonso had a 5-second penalty. The Russell of Alpine on the last lap crashed. He was very bad. He was running in the top 5. Gasly had a very long pit stop which destroyed his race, and Verstappen's Alfa Romeo had a problem. And in the end, Norris in the Ferrari won the race with Magnussen just behind him in P2 and Liam Lawson getting his first ever podium in the Aston Martin. Very good from him and very good from Norris. He had a very good race. Sainz was P4 in the Haas, just keeping up pace. Gasly was 5th with Leclerc 6th. Piastri was 7th. Hulkenberg was 8th. Bottas was 9th. Sargent was 10th. No, Tsunoda was 10th. Sorry. Leclerc also making up a few points in the standings. He's getting closer to Hulkenberg. Norris definitely getting away in 3rd place with that win. Gasly was in 4th and Piastri was in 5th. The last race of this video is going to be the Japanese Grand Prix. And in Q1, the only thing that happened was Sargent crashed. And he was starting from the pit lane. But Leclerc got pole position with Alonso in P2, Magnussen in P3, Zhou in P4. Hulkenberg struggling a little bit at Japan. He was in 5th. Norris was 6th. Bottas was 7th. Tsunoda was 8th. Piastri 9th. And Albon in 10th. In the race, there was an incident involving Ocon, Stroll and Sainz at the first turn. Sargent hit Stroll and both of them was DNF'd. And Perez hit Ocon, both of them also DNF'd. And the Aston Martin of Lawson had a mechanical failure, which was very sad for Liam Lawson. In the end, Leclerc just ran away with the race. He was in control and in demand. Alonso in the McLaren was 2nd, with Norris having the fastest lap in 3rd place. Hulkenberg could only finish P4, which is good for Leclerc's championship hopes. Zhou was 5th, Magnussen 6th, Gasly 7th, Piastri 8th, Tsunoda 9th, and Bottas scoring their last points. The only difference in the championship was 7 points between Hulkenberg and Leclerc. Hulkenberg still in the lead. Norris was 3rd, Gasly was 4th, and Piastri was 5th. The battle for the 3rd and the 4th place is very close, and the 1st place also. And Red Bull secured the the Constructors' Championship in Japan, already having 585 points over Ferrari, who only has 326 points. And that was the end of this video. I'll do the rest of the races tomorrow, hopefully when this gets out, because it's my longest video I've ever done. And I really hope you enjoy this What If series. I think it's just a little bit more interesting than the 2023 season. But yeah, I don't have any choice of which driver goes where, and I just do this race for race, and then my opinion doesn't go in. I don't have any, like, I want a driver to finish where. It's just performance based. And yeah, I'm just going to say the rest of the season is very, very entertaining, but not like the actual season where Red Bull and Ferrari were the only 2 teams. Without Verstappen in the Red Bull, lots of other teams did win. Leclerc and Hulkenberg making mistakes and sometimes off the pace. So yeah, that's why it is so entertaining. I think if Verstappen was in the team, it would probably be the same. So I really hope you enjoyed. Who do you think will win the championship, Hulkenberg or Leclerc? And who do you think will finish in P3? Norris, Gasly, Piastri, Madison, Tsunoda, or Alonso, because it could be any one of them. So yeah, I really hope you enjoy this. I'm going to do this with every single season F1. So if you like that, please like and subscribe. I'm already busy doing the 1980 season, 1979 season, and 2013. So yeah, and when I'm finished with this series, the 2023 one, I will show you where the drivers are going for in 2024. That's going to be very interesting because someone is going to change teams from one big team to another big team. So you'll see. I hope you enjoy the video. Have a great day and enjoy your off season without Formula One. Cheers.